Welcome back, brothers, to another episode of the O'Shea Vlogcast. I am your host, O'Shea Duke Jackson. Today, we have back a brother who, actually, the last time he was on here, I think he had clipped over 100,000 watch time minutes and listening minutes. This is an up-and-coming brother, the Prophet of Thought series. He's also a moderator here in the chat. He's a very talented brother with a very, very, very good radio background. So I'm glad to have him back. What's going on, TPOT?
What's good? What's good, brother ODJ? What's good, ODJ Vlogcast fans? What's up?
Man, glad to have you back, brother. The last time that you were on here, we had an excellent show. Probably one of the best interviews I think that I've ever done on any channel. I've been doing Hangouts for at least a year. And today, when we decided to hook up, you actually had a very, 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 very interesting topic that you wanted to run by today, which was fatherless females who cry for daddy. Now, I really didn't understand where you could be going with this, but as our listeners who are listening and me, I'm also very intrigued on why did you pick this particular topic today and what is the importance of it?
First of all, let me go ahead and thank you for having me back. The reason why I wanted to do this is the same reason why I did the video that I have that I just made a few days ago about it. And I've always thought this, because I was fortunate. I was a fortunate brother. I was raised, by my father. My father didn't die till I was like 38. So I know the advantages of having a man around and having a man teach you and show you things and give you male energy, male advice, and just interject masculinity and the male idea into your psychology. I benefited from that. But as we all know, there's no disputing the fact that us as Black people, 75%, and then probably in the inner cities it's more like 80% of us, we come into this world without our father around or without a father present at all. And it's also a fact that most people born are female. So when you think about the black dynamic, most of the people being born are females. So these females are being born without fathers. There's no denying that. And I think that has hurt us as a people, because it has hurt the people who are born the most out of us, which are females. And when you think about a mother and a father, let's think about the family dynamic. You think about a mother and a father. It's like when you go to a doctor, all right? When you go to a doctor and a doctor tells you you need a particular surgery or procedure, what do they often tell you? You need to go and get a second opinion. So when you have a mother and a father, you automatically have a second opinion. Where your father's concerned, you have a second opinion, because if you just have your mother, you're only getting one side of whatever story. All right. So when we lack that as a people, I think a lot of us, we grow up without balance. We grow up without that so-called second opinion that I just talked about. And we grow up with a sense of hole, almost a hole or a pit in us as a human being, because we've grown and got up our whole life without having any male influence. So that's what made me want to talk about this today. And it also made me want to, create a video about it.
Very good and very interesting. Let me go back to this, because you're a man who was raised by your father.
Yes.
I was a man that was, for the majority of my life, raised by my father, and all of my life had a grandfather influence. But once again, we are both men. And I know that today's podcast is catered towards fatherless females.
Yep.
Without a father who doesn't have a second opinion, what type of women are these men that don't have fathers? What type of men do you think such women end up dating or dealing with?
Well, let's go to some of the stats. Um, think about it. Children that have fathers have a tendency. I mean, there's exceptions to every rule. I mean, people will always make an argument out of an exception. They'll always say, "Oh, I know one person, out of 999,000 that came out all right without a father." Fine, but the people who come in the world with fathers, man, they make better decisions. They do better in school. They have a tendency to go further in life, and I think that's equally applicable to women. I mean, if you don't have a man as a female child, a young female child to relate to, deal with, interact with, understand how he operates and what he does as a man, there's no way you can be prepared. Um, I say this a lot. Okay, I say this a lot, and I say that a lot of times women don't really learn about what a man is until they're talking them out of their drawers, and I believe that that's too late. Okay, that's too late of a time to start discovering what a man is about once you slide your drawers down to him. I think you need to have a better understanding of men before you enter, before you even enter that situation. Um, and I also believe this, that a lot of things that you see from a big number of our black women is just a simple cry out for daddy. Okay, I think it's just a simple cry out for daddy because they have a hole in their personality. They have a hole in their sensibility. They have a hole in their ideology. And I think all people crave a father. And I think females crave a father more than anything else. Okay, they crave a father more than anything else because they it's natural. It's natural for women to want interaction with males. Okay, it's natural for them, even as small children. I think it's natural for them to want to interact with the opposite sex to a degree. And when they don't have that, I think they have that wanting in their system. They have that wanting in their mind, in their emotions. They have that wanting. And when that is not there, it leaves a space that has to be filled. And I think a lot of women fill it. They fill it with the wrong things. They fill it with the wrong ideas. They fill it with the wrong men. They fill it with bad decisions. And I think that a lot of times, maybe not in all cases, but I think in a lot of cases, man, these women who have grown up their whole life without any male influence, without any male guidance, without any male instruction, I think it taints their mentality and causes them to make bad decisions in men, make bad decisions in life, make bad decisions on a whole because of that lack of masculine energy being interjected into them as children.
Let me go to this particular point or question because I know the show is called Fatherless Females Who Cry for Daddy. Um, why? What situations create fatherless females in the first place? Now, obviously, I know that a man and a woman will have sex to produce a child, be it male or female, but under what conditions are fathers not participating in these daughters' lives, and who is to blame for such a thing, if you're in your opinion?
Um, well, of course, there's the brothers out there who don't want a damn thing to do with a child they produce for whatever reason. There's dudes who have sex with women and they didn't want a child in the first place, so they like the hell with you, the hell with the kid, and everything else. But I think that one of the crucial things that a woman has to do, okay, before she, decides to have sex with the man, before she decides to have any type of sexual contact with the man, is understand, how much power she has, over the next few moments. Because ultimately, as we all know, women are the ones who decide whether or not a child is brought forth. A man can't decide that. Okay, just cannot. No matter how bad a man wants a kid, if she's on birth control, that idea is dead. Okay, that idea is dead. Now, what she has to understand is that, you know, if you feel like you are in a situation where you are about to, engage in some sexual activity with a man, you have to understand that, guess what? A child could be produced out of this, and you have the power to say yay or nay to it. So if this isn't a man who you feel like is going to be a good father, if this isn't a man who you feel like you're going to spend your life with, if this isn't a man that you feel like, hey, me and him can be in a union, and raise this child, I think you have to really think long and hard about letting this child come forth, because you have the power. Okay, you have all the power when it comes to that. And I don't care who disagrees with that. I mean, women have all the power when it comes to child rearing, childbirth. They have the power, because if a woman doesn't want a child, guess what? She won't have one. If a man doesn't want a child, he has to hope that nut he busted didn't take. Okay, that's all he has. That's it. He has to sit back and hope that he don't get that phone call and say, "Yo, bruh, I'm pregnant." That's all he got if he doesn't want a child. So, I mean, women have women have a lot of power. I will say that again, but women also have the ability to make. They have the ability to make decisions, and I think women make a lot of half-cocked, knee-jerk decisions when it comes to sexual interaction with men, and they think they make half-cocked, knee-jerk decisions when it comes to their own sexuality and their bodies too. They do that a lot. They do that a lot. That's why more women have children than men.
Mhm, mhm. Let me ask you this. A lot of women, and I did a controversial podcast about, I don't know if you saw it, it was regarding the women who ran away. The girls who ran away in DC. It was about the DC's missing girls. And D.L. Hughley kind of went out with a tangent about the FBI not being able to find these girls, but they could find some Super Bowl jerseys overseas. Now, the girls who come from these fatherless homes, and they're raised primarily by their mother. More often than people would want to admit, these women are even abused by their own mothers, believe it or not. And so these women who are abused and have a lack of love, many times have decided to go forth with the baby for the simple fact that they feel that that baby will love them and respect them because their mothers did not. Now, I'm just kind of throwing this out there as a reason why this may happen, but what do you think about that complete scenario as to why, these women are producing, young daughters for the fact that they feel that these daughters will love them because nobody else did?
I definitely agree with that. I believe that a lot of these girls who have these kids, especially girls that are young who don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, I believe that they have this false notion and this false narrative about life. We have a tendency to think that having kids is the creation of a family. I believe that a lot of these women believe that. And I'm a true believer that if you're just a woman with a bunch of kids, I don't think you really are a family per se. Um, to have a child so that this child will love you is kind of selfish, because if you're having a kid, okay, that's a big responsibility. That's not a small responsibility. It's not like, deciding whether or not, if it's not deciding whether or not, you're going to the movies tonight or not. I mean, that's a big decision. That's at 18 year, that's an 18-year investment, an 18, 19, 20-year investment. So for you to say, I want to have this kid so someone will love me, is kind of selfish, because you've made it all about you. And I think that's what a lot of these women do. They make it about them. So of course the child doesn't get treated the right way, because the only reason the child is here, because it was about you. It wasn't about the child. Of course, the child doesn't, they don't invest in the child's education or development because it was never about the child when the child came. It was about them. So we can't be surprised with the numbers that we see. We can't be surprised when we see, these neighborhoods full of mothers with 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 kids. The neighborhoods look like third world countries, and the activities that take place mirror third world countries, because these people have had these children with lack of planning, lack of resources, lack of any deep understanding of what having this kid was. And why did that happen? Because a lot of them came from the same thing. They came from a mother who wasn't concerned with they weren't concerned with who they were having the baby with. They weren't concerned with the baby's long-term, well-being or their education, or, they were not concerned. Okay. They wasn't concerned about any of that. They just weren't. So how can they teach the next person to be concerned with that? How can they? So these cycles have a tendency to repeat themselves. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, that there's no male structure there. There's no male discipline there. There's there's nothing there to teach these girls how to be people. Okay. There's nothing there to teach them how to make better decisions. There's nothing there to bring a sense of balance. There's no one there to say, hey, look, this is what life is about. This is how you circumnavigate life. This is how you do things in life. This is how you wait for things. This is how you not have instant gratification. That's what men symbolize. So when you take that out, you basically have people who have no ideas, people who don't plan, people who have no interest in a person's education, well-being, or whether or not they even make it to the age of 20 or 25. You have these people creating other people who are just like them and ultimately turn out worse. See, I'm going to tell you the difference between men and women. And I've said this a lot. Women, when they raise kids by themselves, most of them, okay, I'm probably going to get some blowback from this, but I don't care. Most women who raise kids by themselves, they have a tendency to make kids just like them. So when they make kids just like them, the kids always turn out worse. Men, we're different. Any man who has kids can testify to this, that men, we are focused on making our kids better than us, not just like us, better than us. And that's what's missing from a lot of these girls' lives. They didn't have anyone to teach them to be better.
Let me cut you off right there, because I actually want to do a response video to that particular podcast. My dad used to always say, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be a better man than me. He always told me that all of the time. I want you to be a better man than I was, all the time. That is so powerful, man. I actually want to give you kudos on that. And I'm gonna actually do a response video to that probably sometime tomorrow, man. So I really appreciate you saying that. Let me go back up to Brother Theron. Shout out to Theron Williams and his channel. He's in the chat. He wants to speak back to your initial point. Now, we do have certain situations where the brothers are producing kids and maybe get a female pregnant and didn't want the baby. That does happen. But to be, I know that you're also going to acknowledge this too. Black men are documented as being some of the best fathers, if not the best fathers.
Absolutely.
And that's something that we all know, that we do hold the championship in. What ends up happening is that many times Black men are simply ran away from home.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk more about that? Because that may be a contributing factor to why we have fatherless females.
Oh, yeah, I can give y'all a little insight on my own story. I mean, with my kid's mother, because all my kids are by the same woman. We were going to get married and all this kind of crap, but she was crazy, so that didn't happen. But when her and I split up, she made it very hard for me to see my kids. I mean, very hard. And you talking about a brother, because I paid child support for 23 years, man. Okay, I just stopped paying child support like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. All right, so I know the whole child support game and all that kind of nonsense. And I paid a lot of child support. I paid 35% of my income in child support, man, for like the last 20 years of it. So I understand that completely, and I'll say again that, I mean, she made it very hard for me to see my kids. Very hard. I mean, I eventually ended up in court so I can get. I had custody of my daughter, my youngest daughter. I had full custody of her, but I had to make that move because she was making it like totally impossible for me to see my kids. And I think that that has a lot to do with it too, because you have a lot of these women who, like I said, a lot of them are just selfish as hell. Okay. They are fine with you as long as you're there, with the child, because you serve as a protector to the child, even against their asses, because fathers, we have a tendency to not only protect our children from the outside forces, we also protect our children from their crazy ass mama when she get out of hand. So you have that going on as long as you're there. But once you leave, she actually changes how she deals with those children once you're not there. And brothers, you need to be aware of that. If you're in a situation where you're with a woman and y'all have children, you watch how she treats them when you're around, because you serve as their protector against her. When you're not in that household anymore, trust me, brother, the way she deal with your children is going to change, because more often than not, she has a tendency to take the frustrations out that she has against you on your children. Okay, I'm not saying all women do it, but enough women do it for it to matter. So keep that in mind, brothers. Keep that in mind. I know people like to say, oh, not all. No, it's not all, but the number is big enough to matter. The numbers are big enough to matter. And we as men, we need to be cognizant of that, man, because you have a lot of women, man, who, like you said, they run men off for whatever reason, and I think that the lack of knowledge of how to deal with the opposite sex is a big factor in it. I think that, the reason why black men and black women are at odds the way they are in 2017 is because a lot of women have grown up, without any understanding of how to deal with the black male, how to deal with masculinity, how to deal with, a man's perspective, how to understand a man's place within a relationship, within a family. They have the lack of that understanding. So how the hell could they ever, you know, be, be a viable part of a relationship without that understanding? Okay. How could they ever be, how could they ever be a positive factor in a relationship when they have no understanding of the male? Okay. As a man, they have no understanding of that. So they're always going to have problems. I like to say a lot of them going to grow old alone with a. I think I said this before when I was on your show last time. They're going to grow old alone with a bunch of cats, plants, and hoarding junk inside their house. Because no man is gonna stay there more than maybe a few months. He's gonna get tired of that nonsense and bounce. So I mean, women have to be cognizant of this. And the thing with women have a tendency not to want to take constructive criticism. And I think that that's bad because, men, we've always had to deal with constructive criticism and uh, not so constructive criticism. So we've had to deal with it. Women never have. So the best thing to do, I know me, if I want to learn about what's going on with women, I probably will have to learn it from a woman. If I want to know something about women, I'd probably more likely learn that from a woman. So women, if they want to be educated in what men are about, they probably need to pay attention to a few men. I think that would be helpful. I do.
Let me
Forget what they know and learn something new.
let me do this.
That's all.
First of all, let me shout out Theron Williams. a brother who's like, that brother spends, he donates a lot in the super chat. Thank you for the $15 super chat. He's a brother who's up and coming. Like I said, when I first saw his channel, hopefully I've been trying to get him on here also. But as that occurs, and let me ask you another question before we go to intermission and start promoting your channel. Um, you talked about earlier, what is a, these females don't know what a man is about. We don't know what a man is about until their panties have been taken off. Now, I definitely know that a lot of black women, especially in the community, they don't know what real masculinity is over hyper masculinity. But I like for you to be clear, according to the Prophet of Thought series, and I think you answered this the last time you were here. But let's go back over what real masculinity is. So if any woman listens to this and she's a young girl, 17, 18, 19, 20, doesn't really understand what that is, can you explain what that is?
Okay, I can give them what I think it is, you know.
Mhm.
Real masculinity does not have to be proven. You know it when you see it. It doesn't have to be proven. If if a man has to if a man has to do extra things to prove that he's masculine, he's probably not that masculine. Your masculinity will show how you act, how you carry yourself, because it's a way that you think. You know, you think masculine, therefore you are masculine. I'll say again, the way you carry yourself, how you deal with women, how you deal with your life, how you deal with situations will show your masculinity. Okay. I mean, masculinity isn't something that you put on like a coat. You either have it on you or you don't. You know, if you're putting your masculinity on like a jacket, you're not masculine. Okay. It's something that you wear when you wake up in the morning and you go to sleep with it on. All right. And what young women need to understand about masculinity may not necessarily be, a brother who opens the door. See they get it crossed up. They think masculinity is the same as chivalry. Now those two things can be intertwined, but they are not necessarily the same. I mean, I guess it's good for ladies, for brothers to open the door and pull a chair out and, light their cigarette if they smoke, help them with their coat, treat them like a lady types. But that's not the full definition of masculinity. That's a thing that comes along. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of masculinity. That is not masculinity. Masculinity, I'll say again, does not have to be proven or promulgated by a man. People will sense your masculinity if you project it from your own self. See, you have to know who you are as a man to be considered masculine. Because if you know who you are as a man, trust me, people will see your masculinity. I think I talked about this the last time I was on your show, ODJ. I have women around me. I have grown daughters. I have a lady. I have my wife's sisters and people like that. I have these females around me. And let me tell you something, a lot of them, because they're all black women. And a lot of them, when they deal with other brothers, they have certain things going on with them. But when they come to me, they deal with me totally different. They deal with me totally different. Why? Because when they deal with me, they know they're dealing with an alpha male, a masculine man. So, masculinity in men suppresses that masculinity in women. Because make no mistake, black women will try to out alpha you if you let them. I've said this before. They will try to out alpha you. So if you're a man that's really masculine, you can suppress the masculine energy that a female is trying to project. All right. And if your masculine energy is strong enough and evident enough, they won't even try to project it. They'll fall back, man. They'll fall back. All right. They will fall back, but you have to have it in yourself. I mean, no one else can define your masculinity the way you can. And once you've established it in your own mind, and you look in the mirror every day and you see a man, guess what? When you walk out of that house, everybody else will see it too. Everybody will see it.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of times we see younger black women many times, and it's kind of an unspoken thing in black communities. But what we sometimes see is a lot of younger black women um, dealing with much older men. For example, let me talk about the Steven shooting. He shot a particular old man, Robert Godwin Sr. Now, I know this is a little bit extreme, but the woman who Robert Godwin Sr. was dating at the time was 34, and she had been dealing with Robert Godwin Sr. from the age of 16. At this time, he must have been at least 50, 52, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
something to this 54. So, and you see like a lot of black women, you would think like, oh, he's an old man, but more often than not, which is not really spoken a whole lot, is a lot of black women find themselves trying to fuck with an older man for the fact that they never had a father. Now, I don't necessarily know how true this may be. I've heard cases of this, but you're, a little older than me, so maybe you have a lot more life experience. What's your take on this? And are, black women who are crying for daddy, are they crying out for daddy by trying to have relationships with men who are much older?
I do believe that. I mean, because think about it. If you're a young girl and you're 18, 19, 20 years old, I'm pretty sure you can find a brother in that age group who would love to date you, sleep with you, and do all that kind of stuff with you. So if you find yourself gravitating towards men who are that much older than you, there's obviously something that you're looking for. You're looking for some degree of a authority figure. You're looking for some type of authority in your life. You're looking for maybe someone who is a little more established, someone who is a little more mature, someone who's a little more, someone who stands as a figure greater than yourself. Okay? You're looking for that. And who is that? It goes back to what we're talking about today. Who is that greater male figure in most young people's lives, in most children's lives? That greatest male figure is their father. That's that greater male figure. That's that figure in your life that teaches you right from wrong. That's that figure in your life who is way more dictatorial than your mother. I mean, anybody who grew up with a mother and a father, unless your father was a beta sympatron or something like that, I'm not talking to y'all. But me, I grew up in a household with an alpha male. Okay, I mean, my father was an alpha, straight alpha. I seen one of the brothers talk about a silverback. That's how my father was. He was like a silverback. He was like a silverback. So he's straight alpha male. So your father has a little more authority in your household when he's a strong black male. He is the head of that household. What he says goes. It's a castle. He's the king. His word is law. So when you come up in that kind of environment, you have no choice but to respect a man's authority. You have no choice but to respect a man's position in life. Even as a young man, I mean, I grew up knowing how to respect authority, understand who my superiors were, understand the knowledge and wisdom and instruction and counseling that an older man brought to me, because that's how I was raised. So if you're a female child, you would understand that too. You would understand it. But if you went your whole life and you never had that, and you're searching for that, that would be the thing that would cause these young girls to gravitate to men that are older, because they do come in and they be that authority figure. They do come in and they're that, they're that inspiring figure that can give you discipline and instruction and, teach you things that you may not know necessarily, because you came from a home that didn't have that discipline, didn't have that instruction, and, and so forth. That's just my opinion. I know my answers are long, y'all, but I want y'all to understand what I'm saying. That's all.
Okay. So let me kind of, go into this whole authority piece. You have had no problem in your life understanding who superiors are. You said you understood this at a young age because of your father. Let's talk more about these fatherless females who then create boys. Now, what I've noticed is the fatherless females who create boys teach their boys not to acknowledge male domination or male authority, but they do teach these boys to respect them as the authority figure and not other Black men. Now, I don't know if I'm wrong on this or not, but can you elaborate on maybe on that, like the fatherless females who have the boys and what kind of authority figures that these young boys respect without the fathers there in the homes?
Oh, well, I totally agree with you on that one. With young men, it's different. Because what do kids have a tendency to do? They have a tendency to pattern themselves after the people they're raised around and by. I mean, they're children. Children live what they learn for the most part. So if a man is in the house and you're a young boy, you're going to pattern yourself after that man. Okay. He can relate to you. You can relate to him. Things about yourself, he's going to be able to teach you and all of that kind of stuff. But let's flip it over. If you're a young male child, all right, and the only person you have influencing you and the only person you have to pattern yourself behind is your mama. Now, I agree that women have a tendency to teach these young male children to see them as the disciplinarian, the authority, the whoever, the person in charge. But I think it's a problem with that, because women, being emotional creatures by nature, I think they have a tendency not just to teach these young boys this, but they also have a tendency to have the young boys worship them. And it goes back to the differences between men and women again. I mean, men, we don't teach our children to worship us. We teach them to respect us. Women have a tendency to teach their children to worship them. And when you teach a child to worship you, because worship is subjective. It's just like when a person goes to church, okay? People worship subjectively because they can worship God or whoever on Sunday, and the other 6 days out of the week they doing everything that goes against everything they claim to be. Everything they claim to be in their religion to be, they totally against that 6 days out the week. So worship is subjective. Respect is not. So as Black men, we teach our children to worship us. So that worship, that we my bad, Freudian slip. We teach our kids to respect us. So that respect is infinite. When you have respect for something, it's not subjective to how you feel. That respect is there, whether I'm angry with you, whether I'm pleased with you, I'm happy to see you or not happy to see you. That respect is there. When a child has been raised to worship a parent, it's always going to be subjective. Therefore, that's why a lot of these kids, they grow up, they rob, they steal, they on crack, they selling crack, they shooting folks, they all that kind of stuff, because that worship of that mother was subjective to however they felt. And as they get older, that worship wanes. It doesn't have as much hold on them as it used to when they were small. As they get older, so I think that is the big problem. One thing about men, we instill respect of ourselves, but we also instill respect of themselves. We teach them to respect themselves, not just us. And I think that's the problem when women raise children, they're more interested in the children worshiping them and or respecting them than the child respecting themselves. And I think that's where they go wrong, because I just don't think they have the chops to instill those things. Why do you think that 60 to 65% of the people that are in prison right now didn't have a father? 60% of rapists didn't have a father. 60 to 70% of people doing life bids in prison didn't have a father. This isn't a coincidence, man. This is society. This is who we are. And I see somebody in the chat saying, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. Exactly. Men, when we teach our children, we are not our children's friend. We're not their friend, we're their parent. And I think oftentimes, because women have these children for their own selfish reasons, that they raise them in a selfish manner, and I think it's totally detrimental to the development and the growth of a child. Just totally is.
Well, that's a great response. Let me do this real quick. And brothers, I really appreciate those who are in the chat. Abe is great one, just super chatted $5 Canadian. Brother, I really appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. Thank you for all of the brothers who are in there. I see Doug, I see Rick Thompson, I see some of the SW247Xs. I see a lot of the people who are typically here. Theron, thank you, brothers, all of you who are actually in the chat and spending time with us today with this great guest that we have, which is the Prophet of Thought series. Now, as you know, the Prophet of Thought series came on maybe a few weeks ago and gave us a great show on Black men wanting a feminine presence. So what we like to do is, he's an up-and-coming channel. Let's go ahead and go into the actual chat, brothers. And subscribe to his channel. It is there. I post the link. So if it's your 111 people watching right now, do me a favor and go ahead and click on his link. Subscribe to the Prophet of Thought series right there. Okay, and hit subscribe when you do so, because what we want to do is basically, support the show, support the other YouTubers who are coming on here discussing this. Like I said, for the most part, if you are a Black male, whether you be in Canada, whether you be in London, or if you are in America, this sort of content is not so readily available to you. And so what we're trying to do is to produce the kind of content that that Black men are interested in, that Black men want. So we do this. So once again, thank you, brothers, for being in the chat tonight, and continue to like the videos. Let's get back into this situation, because we have the fatherless females who are crying for daddy. But here's the thing. I noticed that a lot of Black women who don't have a father secretly want to know how to respect men. But I think that many of them have bit off or swallowed a lot of the liberal jargon. I don't need a man. I don't have to respect a man. I don't need a man's help. I can do things by myself. But secretly, they may feel a certain way. How can Black men? I mean, do you think that such women are to be dated? Should brothers, waste their time with dealing with such women who may secretly? I mean, should we be more patient with Black women who are coming from these situations? And do you think that Black men should even try to date them?
To be honest, and women may not like this, but I say no. I don't think brothers should have to sit around and wait women out. I mean, we can't sit around and wait for women to come around. I mean, I say this a lot, and I've said this to my sons, that one of the first questions you need to ask a woman, okay, as you get to know her, and if you plan on being in a relationship with her, ask her what her relationship with her father was. And I tell my daughters the same thing. You about to date a brother? Ask him what his relationship with his father was, because that's going to say a lot about that person. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Because I know me, I run into a lot of people, okay, in my travels, and I can talk to a young brother, and I can talk to him for about 5 minutes, and I can tell whether or not he had a father in his life. Just like I can tell he hasn't had a father in his life. And women are pretty much the same way. The way a person moves, the way a person talks, how they greet you, how they deal with you, whether or not they look you in the eye, all this kind of stuff, man. I mean, and I talk to a lot of people because I travel up and down the East Coast every couple of months, and I can talk to a person, I'm telling you, for like 5, 10 minutes, and I can tell whether or not they had a father in their life, whether or not they was raised by a man, especially dudes. I mean, women, it's a little hard to peg at times, but men, I mean, you can tell by the way a brother is, whether or not he had a father in his life. You can just tell. So no, I don't think brothers should be waiting women out and wait for them to come around and let yourself be that one thing that gives them the education on what men are. No, no. I know I would not, okay, if I wasn't a guy already married, okay, I don't think I would have anything to do with a woman who didn't have a father in her life, because that would point out to me a detriment inside her character. I mean, now that's just my opinion. I don't want people to get mad at me, start writing me, but that, in my opinion, if she didn't have a relationship with her father, I mean, her and I probably couldn't be in a relationship. I mean, the woman I had kids by, her father was in her life. My wife, her father was in her life. I mean, I was actually cool, with both of their fathers when they were alive. So, I mean, I come from a different standpoint, but I don't think that I could, as a man, especially as a young man, knowing now, I mean, knowing then what I know now, there's no way I could find myself in a serious relationship with a woman who didn't have her father in her life, because I mean, that relationship would be a relationship where she would be trying to discover, she'd either be trying to discover what the man is about, or she would just be so anti-man, anti-male, anti-masculine that I wouldn't be able to deal with it. So no, brothers, if a woman hasn't had a relationship with her father, she's probably not for you, unless you're a beta sympatron. You're perfect for her. Yeah, you're perfect for her. If she hasn't had any male influence in her life, you're the guy she needs, brother. Have at it. Have
Let,
at it.
let me ask you this, because you're talking about a woman who, and to be honest, a lot of attractive black women, as you said earlier, are coming from single mother-led homes. Now, you mentioned that there are two outcomes. One is a man-hating woman, and one is a discovering phase. Why is a discovering phase such a painful phase, in your opinion?
Because I don't believe that a man, I mean, I know we've been indoctrinated to wait on this and it's gonna be okay and all this kind of nonsense. But I mean, it's 2017. If you meet a woman, young brothers, especially you young brothers, because y'all are gonna be the ones around long after I'm dead and gone. You young brothers, I mean, you shouldn't have to sit back and wait for somebody to get right or to get knowledge. I mean, if a woman comes to you and she doesn't have understanding of what a man is, how good is she going to be for you? Okay, how good is she going to be for you? I mean, there's no way you can say, okay, well, she's gonna come around in 6 months or a year or whatever the case may be. Fine, if you want to sit around and wait for her to have some understand, her level of understanding about you as a man should at least match your understanding of her as a woman. Those things should at least match. If they're lopsided, it's going to be a lopsided relationship, and it's not going to work out anyway. It's just not. You need to be able to understand, if a woman is going to be in a serious relationship with you, she at least needs to understand your place in the relationship. As a man, she needs to understand her place as a relationship in the relationship as a woman. Those things have to be understood between the both of you. Because one thing about us men, most of us, we kind of know, what a woman's place is in a relationship. We know what that is, but a lot of women do not. Okay, they don't know what their place is in a relationship because they haven't had anything to watch. They can't even pattern themselves after their mothers who were in a relationship, because mama was this baby mama with 10 kids by 10 different dudes, and no regrets. And I mean, it's just nonsense. So I think brothers need to be wary of that type of thing, man. And I think that the a lot of women out there, man. And let me tell you something, there's more women than there are men. So there's going to be women left out in the cold no matter what we do. So don't feel bad about sending one out in the cold, because they're going to have plenty of company. Yeah, they're going to have plenty of company. So don't worry about it. A lot of them going to be left out in the cold anyway. So if you send one to the deep freezer, don't feel bad, brother. She won't be alone.
Let me ask you this. Um, as far as black men who, well, I guess let me put it this way: these women who are fatherless, what can black men as a unit do, or what can black men do? And I guess I'm going to tie this back into the last video that you came and talked about, which was black men desire women with feminine energy. What can black men as a core group do to work together to get their women in line by making them reach to a certain standard of femininity?
Well, first, you have to, as a man, you have to understand what you want. I mean, we as black men, we have a tendency to climb on top of anything with a damn vagina. We need to stop doing that, for starters. Okay. Well, we need to stop doing that. We need to have a little more standards, and we need to have some self-esteem. A lot of us as brothers, a lot of us, we have low self-esteem too. We talk about how women have low self-esteem, but a lot of us black brothers, we have low self-esteem too. That's why we'll climb on top of any old beast, a monkey, giraffe, hippopotamus, gorilla, whatever. We'll just climb right on top of it, okay, and squirt a baby in it, and just don't just don't care. So we have to have some self-esteem, and we have to have some self-standards first and foremost. Now, once we get past that, where we say, okay, I'm not going to be with a woman that's like this, I'm not going to be with a woman that's like that. Now, once you get past that, now you have a better understanding of what you're looking for. I think, brothers, we don't really know what we're looking for. Okay, we don't know what we're looking for in a woman. So we climb on any woman who's willing to open her legs, no matter what she's about, no matter what she looked like, no matter how much she weighed, no matter how many kids she got. I mean, so I'll say again, some women are going to be left out in the cold anyway, brothers. It's too many of them for them not to be left out in the cold. So be prepared to send some to the freezer. Be prepared to send some of them out there. All right, be prepared, because if you have standards, you're gonna have least problems. Your problems are not gonna be as paramount. If you climbing on top of every damn woman that you come across, you're asking for problems, because you're gonna get women who have no real femininity. The only time they feminine is when you got them on their backs. If a woman can only be feminine when she's on her back, man, that's not a woman who's feminine at all. Okay. Any woman that has any real feminine qualities, let me tell you something. You want to get her on her back when she's not even on her back. If y'all can understand what I'm saying, if she's real feminine, you always want to put her on her back. You always want to put her on her back. That shouldn't be the only time. That shouldn't be the only time she has feminine energy, is when she butt ass naked on a bed with her legs open. Okay. Her femininity is supposed to show beyond that. She's supposed to have some degree of integrity, honor, self-respect about herself, and have some damn respect for men. Have some respect for you. Okay, she has to have some respect for you as a man and respect your ideas, respect your masculinity. That's what makes her feminine. The fact that she respects you as a man, she respects your place as a man, and she understands you as a human being, as this man. She understands that. Because if she understands that, let me tell you something, that itself is going to make her appear feminine because she understands you. That's it.
Well,
Yes.
awesome response. Let me do this, and I'm going to ask a question from Rick Thompson, but I want to acknowledge this brother because he did donate in the super chat. Brother Rodney Holmes, man, appreciate you for being in the super chat. Also, again, we want to ask this particular question that Rick Thompson has, and he asked, "I'm curious to know to his on this Section 8 topic going away." And I think that maybe the reason why he's asking this is because maybe he feels, and I could be wrong, but with the Section 8 cuts and the welfare cuts, do you think, Prophet, that we're going to see a return to Black women to a lot of femininity for some of those who are going to be cut out of these programs to try to compete more for Black men, in your opinion?
Um, you will see, I think you will see some. Um, you may not see a lot, but you will see some. I believe that the smarter women, okay, the smarter individual women who knows that they have to kind of change the way they operate, because you have to kind of change your thinking to change your behavior so you can change the end result. So the smarter females are going to say, okay, let me kind of readjust, so maybe I can, get myself with a man who can, kind of help me out. And, the smarter women are probably going to go that route. But those old hood heifer hoes, the damn, the back alley broads, they're not going to change much, man. What they're going to do is they're going to hoe more. They're going to have more babies. Okay. They're going to do more hoeing. They're going to do more giving birth. They're gonna step their damn heifer game up. Okay, they're gonna step their heifer game up because that's what they're gonna have to do to survive. A lot of them that are in that predicament now, they're in that predicament because they weren't smart. They weren't smart to begin with. They wasn't responsible to begin with. So it's not like they're automatically gonna, turn into these ultra responsible people now and say, okay, maybe I won't have, two more babies, because I already have five. They're not gonna do that. They're probably gonna get more irresponsible. They're gonna do more things to try to, supplement their lifestyle. Have another baby, have another two babies, date three niggas instead of two. That's what they're gonna do, man. But the females who are a little more intelligent, they're gonna reassess. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna fall back, they're gonna reassess, and a lot of them are going to change their ways because that's what they're gonna have to do to adapt. But it's not going to be all of them. I don't think it's going to be many of them at all. You're not going to see too much of a change in Black society. I don't think. If anything, Black society is going to be worse. You're going to see more baby mamas. Okay. It's going to be more hoeing. Okay, the hoeing is going to be crazy. You're going to see more female panhandlers. Okay, standing on the side of the road. Homeless shelters, they're going to be bursting at the seams. I mean, that's what you're going to see. You're not going to see no come around of Black women, trying to be more feminine or, trying to be more submissive or trying to fall back to men. Nah, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see it. You're not. People say that you are, but I don't believe it. And if you see it, you're going to see it in very small numbers. It's not going to be this mass exodus into the realm of of feminine energy. I just don't think so. You'll see women, they'll be robbing banks and knocking old ladies in the head and, holding up bodegas. You'll just see a rise in that. I'm telling you, that's what you're going to see, because most of them are irresponsible as hell anyway. All this going to do is make them more irresponsible. That's it.
Let me do this, because we have 134 people watching. We'll take a little bit of an intermission. And again, I appreciate all of you brothers who are in the chat now. We have 136 people watching. We need just 18 more people to like the particular video. So if you're in the chat, let's do a quick intermission and let's get these likes up, brothers. 17 more will get us to 100 likes. Again, if you're coming in enjoying the show, this show is for men. This show is for men, all races, but in particular black men. And today is dedicated to maybe a younger black male crowd. So, or if you're having some issues, so let's show a little bit of gratitude, brothers, if we can, by liking the video. It doesn't cost anything to do. I mean, the reason why we want you to like the video is because YouTube does promote such videos when you do. So I want you to keep the likes up if we can. And then for the brothers who are on Facebook, I just want to say that I was talking to the Prophet of Thought series. We are taking the Negro Manosphere back onto Facebook, okay? So I think I need 35 people to come in the chat and like the particular page. So if you're there in the chat, do me a favor, click on the Negro Manosphere link, all right? That's our new fan page. We need to get up to 100 likes. Now, before it got shut down, I had it up to 50,000 real likes, believe it or not. But if you're if you are here on Facebook, if you have a Facebook page, please like the Negro Manosphere fan page. And the reason why we want you to like it is because we're going to be back on Facebook. We'll be promoting in the Prophet of Thought series videos. We're promoting BGS Itmore's videos. We'll be on there promoting a lot of brother stuff on the Negro Manosphere. So I see Drew Bless has liked the page. Drake, thank you, Dre. So continue to like the link in the actual description, okay? Or also the link in the chat. So continue to like the Negro Manosphere fan page, because we will be there very shortly. Also, last but not least, the Prophet of Thought series is here today once again, and I really do appreciate the brother coming by as we're still discussing. Go ahead here and subscribe to his particular channel, okay? So we want you to do that. Subscribe to his channel. Okay, he's doing some really great things over there. Last time he came, I believe he got, how many subscribers did you end up getting on the last interview that you get?
I don't know, probably like 100 and I think like 125 or something like that, man. Okay. It was big numbers, big numbers.
Big numbers, okay.
I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all stopping by and, hitting me with the old subscription straight from ODJ's platform. I appreciate y'all, man. I don't want y'all to think I don't appreciate y'all, because I do. Right. And keep coming over too. I'm always gonna have something over there for you. Keep coming. Keep coming.
Right. So we definitely want to keep doing that. So once again, hit the like on. Thank you, Drew. Keep hitting the like on the actual Facebook page that we have here. We're going to continue our discussion. So once again, thank you, brothers, for what you've been doing. Go ahead and continue to like the Facebook page. We have 30 more people to like, and this is live 500,000. Let me ask you this, Prophet. There are some women, right, who will say, okay, I am, a fatherless female. I may not know my dad or have a good relationship with my dad, but I noticed that I have an uncle who's in my life and I see how he treated my aunt, or I have maybe an older cousin, or maybe I have a neighbor who I had to spend a lot of time with their family. And even though my mom did not have a father in my life, I did witness how this is supposed to work from another successful family. Maybe, a friend at church or something like that. And I do see the beauty in having a male. So if a woman is listening to this, Prophet, I know you don't want brothers to date me because I don't have a relationship with my father, but I have seen it somewhere else, and I do want a relationship with a man like that. What is your response to her?
I would say, I would say good. Um, there's always room for an exception. A young female child, even when she doesn't have a father, but if she has an uncle or a grandfather or someone like that to interject, a male's perspective into her psyche. I mean, it's nothing but for the good. It's healthy. Okay. It's healthy. It's healthy to have a man's point of view. It's healthy to have some type of masculine energy in your life. Now, would we prefer it to be a father? Of course we would. But if you have an uncle or a grandfather, I tell women this all the time because I know some women who are single mothers. Okay. A lot of them listen to my stuff. They were fans of my radio show. And I would tell them often that, if you have kids by a brother and this brother has made it painfully obvious that he doesn't want to be bothered with these children, it may be the onus may be on you to make sure that these children have some type of male, influence. All right. You may need to get your father if you have one, your uncle if you have one, a karate teacher, a football coach, somebody, somebody, all right, somebody who can absolutely positively have some degree of male influence on this child. Okay. On this child. I think that children that grow up without male influence, if they grow up without male influence, they're going to grow up stunted. Like I said, there are exceptions to every rule, but I think that women children and male children, okay, male and female children, they need to have male influence in their life. The stats prove it. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to me. You can Google it yourself. Okay, go Google it yourself and just look at the stats that are on children who don't have fathers in their lives and children who do. Look at the numbers yourself. They speak for themselves. Okay. And I see somebody in the chat room who agrees. And I agree with you, brother. Fathers teach you how to deal with the world. They just do. Why do you think that children who grow up without a father, right? Like I said, they're more likely to go to jail. They're more likely to repeat the cycles of their crazy mamas. They're more likely to end up dead. They're more likely to end up shooting other folks and killing other folks. The stats on children who grow up with just a father are so much lower. Those are the children who excel. Those are the children who go to college, make something out of themselves. I mean, that the fact, I'll say again, Google it yourself. Google it yourself. Don't listen to X. Google it yourself. So those numbers being what they are, let you know that men are very, okay, men are very instrumental in the development of a child, males and females, males and females, and females, being that there's that gender dynamic that we often talk about. Females, they really, really need their fathers in their lives too, because as they grow, they're going to make better decisions, man. If they have some type of male, if they have some type of male influence, okay, some type of male energy in their life, trust me, they're going to make better decisions with men. They are. They're gonna make better. They're going to make better decisions as far as men is concerned. They probably won't pick these no good, no account dudes who ain't about nothing, because they'll have they'll have a standard to look at. They'll have an example to look at. They'll have a template to look at. Okay, it's hard to know what something looks like if you've never seen it. It's as simple as that. It's hard to know what it looks like if you've never seen it. And I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem with a lot of females. I think a lot of females who come up, black females, they don't know what the hell a man looks like. So the first one that comes along, he fits the bill.
Let me ask you this, okay? Because in this particular position, we have seen the stats, right? We know that, men who come from two-parent homes are children from two-parent homes, especially where a man is um, leading the household. Those children come out much better. But when you present these statistics to Black women, you present them to women in general, specifically women on the left, they argue against those statistics, and or they don't want to debate those statistics, or they come away to still try to make men less important. Why is it that women just can't understand their way is not working? The way to run a nuclear family is to have the man in charge, and the kids end up with a better experience, in the household and the childhood. Why can't they understand that when the numbers speak incredibly to that fact?
Because, as we all know, women have a tendency to proceed with things from I don't have any regrets. I talked about this on Valdez's show earlier today. Women don't regret anything often. I don't regret having 10 babies by 10 different dudes. I don't regret eating a bucket of chicken every day for the past 10 years, and now I weigh 375 pounds. I don't regret having this big, gigantic blonde wig on my head. I don't regret not getting married. They live that thing. It's a perpetual suspension of disbelief about their own lives. Luxury that we as men don't have, because when we make bad decisions, we often have to regret those bad decisions because we're forced to self-reflect. We're forced to self-examine. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, we are forced to self-reflect and self-examine. Women have been able to skate from that thing, man. They've been able to escape looking at their bad decisions. They've been able to escape doing these crazy things and not have any regrets about it. Okay, just move on and say, oh, it's fine. You having 10 kids by 10 dudes, don't worry about it. You're still magnificent. You're just as magnificent as you were before you had those 10 kids. You weigh 300, you went from weighing 120 pounds to 320 pounds. Fine, it's okay. You're just as magnificent at 320 as you were at 120. So that's kind of how it's been kind of framed for the females in the Black society. In Black society, that's how it's been framed for females. No regrets. The only people who have regrets about their actions are the males. They're the only ones that have regrets. And women have been the people who dictate those regrets. Okay? They dictate what men should regret. Now, when men speak of what women should regret, they're told, oh, you're bashing, you're a chauvinist, you hate women, you're a misogynist, you're all this kind of nonsense. But they can turn around and tell you, you should regret this, you should regret that, you shouldn't have did this, you shouldn't have did that. But when you turn that mirror around on them, it's like, wait a minute, hey, everything I did, I don't regret anything I did. I don't regret none of my activities. I don't regret none of my decisions, because no matter what decision I've made, I'm still magnificent. I'm still a queen. I'm still the best and biggest and the brightest thing in the Black world, and the Black world would be nothing without me and my old funky vagina. So I mean, that's how it's been framed for Black women. I mean, that's the framework of it. That's the framework of it, man. And it's been that way for so long. And it definitely was started by the feminist movement and all this other crap and welfare and public assistance and all this kind of other stuff. All of this stuff has played a part into where we are now. Because notice, Black society is the only society that has such a big problem with their women. Other societies don't have this kind of problem with their women. You know why? Because other societies' women have not came to a point where They don't know their place. They don't know how to raise children. They don't know that they are keepers of the culture. I mean, only Black society has this problem in the numbers that we have it. Okay, because what women are supposed to be keepers of the culture, right? So if they're keepers of the culture, you look at how they do things, man. You look at the numbers, man. You look at the stats. You look at the killing and the crime in the ghettos. One thing that, and I've said this many a times, one thing that all those places have in common, that there is an abundance of women with children and no fathers. You go to those neighborhoods, knock on a few doors, and tell me how many fathers answer those doors. Tell me. Tell
Mm-hmm.
me.
That's true. It's true. Let me do this. A lot of brothers have been in the chat asking who we are actually speaking to. That's the Prophet of Thought series. Okay, brother. So the brother that's kicking games, that's Seth Maurice. Shout out to Seth Maurice. I believe he's from Arkansas. So shout out to him. A lot of brothers are going to want to follow you now. So once again, I really appreciate everybody that's in the chat. There's a guy in here, Polish Adam TV. I don't know if he's a troll, but he definitely has a Polish channel. He commented on another page. I'll deal with him later. But anyways, he's a guy from Poland. So if you're here to listen to this, shout outs to you. I'm here in Lublin. So once again, everybody, appreciate you for watching. Let's do this. Let's get the likes up on the video. We have 136 watching now. Let's get the likes up. I need about 9 people to like the current video if we can do that. So please, brothers, continue to like the video. I really appreciate the support that we have been getting. Many of you are liking the Negro Manosphere Facebook page. I don't know if you, all of you, remember the first Negro Manosphere fan page that we had that eclipsed over 50,000 likes in 3 months. But now we're back on. We got shut down because certain people were hating on us. But what up, Emida? So Emida, go ahead and subscribe here if you can to the Prophet of Thought series. What's going on, John? All right. So appreciate everybody that's on here today. Let me kind of go back to the interview, Prophet. What else maybe are we missing on today's topic that maybe we haven't looked at? Maybe for those fathers who are trying to get in contact with their daughters because for whatever reason they're on child support and you're on child support. Some of these brothers may want to give up and things of this nature. What advice would you give them?
I would tell you that, first and foremost, let me say this. If you find yourself in a situation where, I don't know, for whatever reason, you have brothers who don't want to be bothered with their kids. I mean, if you're one of those brothers, if you're a brother who doesn't want to be bothered with your kids, you know what you should do? You should just go ahead, okay? Go ahead, sign over all your parental rights and disappear some damn where and never be seen or heard from again if you don't want to be bothered with the kid. I mean, and the crazy thing is you will probably be better off by doing that instead of not wanting to be bothered with your kid and trying to come in and out of the kid's life when you can. I think that's just, it sends mixed messages and it's wrong. But for the brothers who want to be in your children's life, fight for that. Fight for that. All right. Fight for that right. Fight to be in that child's life. I know I went through it, brothers. It's not easy. Okay. It's not easy, brothers. It isn't. Okay. It's not easy because, they always give women the benefit of the doubt, no matter how much of a hoe she is, no matter how ratchet she is, no matter how raggedy she is, no matter how she lives, no matter how she does her household. They always get the benefit of the doubt because it's always assumed that the father is no damn good. Okay. They always assume he's no good because he's not with this woman. All right. It's a cloak that we've been forced to wear. okay, even when it's not true. But if you want to be in your child's life, man, fight for that, okay? Fight to be in that child's life, fight to influence that child. And sometimes you may even have to sacrifice your own well-being to do that. I know I did, okay? When I was seeking custody of my daughter, okay, I mean, they came to my house, man, and mind you, I mean, my kid's mother was, she was kind of out there at the time, you know. But let me tell you something. They came to my house, and I had a good job. Okay, I had good medical insurance. I had all that going on. I had my own place, all of that. All right, making good money. When I went to go for custody for my child, man, they came to my job. They called my job. They came to my damn house. They walked through, wanted to make sure the light switch worked and the toilet flushed and I had a stove and all this kind of nonsense. Talked to my neighbors. They went through all of that nonsense. Okay. They went through all of that for me because I was a man. All right. And meanwhile, the mother, okay, the mother of your child could be whatever. She could be a crackhead, a drunk. Okay, she could leave the kids home alone and, have kids, have dudes in there molesting them and all this kind of nonsense. And she will still get the benefit of the doubt over a brother who has a decent job, has his own place, makes a good income, has health insurance and all that kind of stuff. She will still get the benefit of the doubt simply because she has a damn vagina and you have a penis. So if you want to be a brother, man, and you want to be in your child's life, man, I say fight like hell. Because believe it or not, brothers, it's actually getting easier to do. Because most of them, when they come to court, they're gonna come there and act a damn fool. All you got to do is just be calm, all right? Have your paperwork together. Have your paperwork together, be calm, be civil, and just sit back and watch the show. Because trust me, she's more than likely she gonna act a damn fool and make herself look like an idiot, okay, in front of the white folks. So all that's gonna do, that's just gonna be beneficial to you. Okay, it's gonna be beneficial to you. That's the main thing we have to learn to do. We have to learn to stay calm, man, and wait for the process. Okay, and get involved with the process, brothers. Get involved. If you want your kid, try hard as hell to get your kid. Try really hard. Okay, try hard, and don't give up, regardless of what you're being told by the mother, regardless of what you're being told by the white folks. Don't give up. Stick in there, man. Stick in there. I'll say that. Stick in there and fight for your kids, man.
Very, very good information. Once again, I want to shout out Dr. Perry Stanislaw. I should have just released an article on the website, and I'm supposed to do a response video to Dr. Stanislaw, which is the demonization of Black men in Britain, Part 2. Now, Part 1 was probably one of the best written articles on the site we've ever had. Now, that's saying a lot, because I have Alan Roger Curry who writes for me. I have Ron Wills who writes for the Negro Manosphere. I have Donovan Sharp of Return of Kings fame. We have Josh Salito from Toronto, Canada. We have Sylvanus Omonoyi from Lagos, Nigeria, who writes. So we have a lot of talented cast. But I think Perry that's probably one of the top 3 articles that I've ever seen written on the site. Had a lot of research and a lot of data. And tomorrow, I believe this is already posted now, he just donated 10 British pounds. I'm supposed to be getting out to Britain soon. All right. We have a big support system from our Black brothers over in England, be it from either the Caribbean descent or from African descent there. So I do thank you, Perry, Dr. Stanislaw, for what you have, your contribution to the Negro Manosphere. He said, "Oh shit, your sip tails be killing me, man. I got so LAR movement, man. We got to get up too. Shout out to LAR movement. I got to get him back on here. But once again, I really wanted to say this about the Prophet of Thought series, and this is what I want to get to other Black men who are just coming in late. We have a lot of brothers out here in the manosphere that have a lot of talent and a lot of knowledge. For example, I knew Perry Stanislaw was a commenter, but not a producer. But once again, when he wrote the article, we were able to see the extreme talent that he has. I mean, he's not, necessarily, he's written books and things of this nature, but we were able to see the talent that the brother has, not only as just a commenter, but as an author and a writer. And so what we need to do, and I was talking to Prophet of Thought Series, is those of you brothers who do have a fan base, it's imperative that, that you brothers try to extend the olive branch to bring other people up. Like brothers like D. Sim, he's written at least 7 articles on the site. Tony Drake, Anthony William of Nairobi, Kenya. Anthony William of Nairobi, Kenya, he's a little controversial with some of the shit he writes, but the thing is, everybody in the manosphere, this is not just a YouTube manosphere anymore. The black manosphere is just not YouTube videos. The manosphere is forums now. You have, Save Yourself Black Men, ran over there by Kiriaki Jones and Mad Bus Driver X. You have the Negro manosphere. You have slayingevil.com, which is doing, extremely well as of last month. And the black men's thoughts are getting out there, and so if you are a producer, and you have brothers out there like, Theron Williams, people like LAR Movement, the Prophet of Thought Series, guys who, are maybe a little bit more under the radar, all these brothers need sometimes is just to be on the platform and to showcase their talent. I know right now in the manosphere, there is a, how can I say it? There is a political stronghold as the hierarchy, if you can say it, and it's hard to get in. And I can say this, it's like me, Angry Man, Obsidian. You got Rom, BGS up there, but Ringo and Jap. So I mean, like the kind of the guys probably have the most fan base. Me, Angry Man, Jap, and maybe Ringo. Guys like those particular people are kind of hard to compete with. Ringo has a lot of technical skill in the editing of his videos. Angry Man and Minister Jap, they have streams, certain equipment. You know what I mean? They can take calls during the during a live show. It's very hard to get into to be competitive in Black YouTube now than it was like 2 years ago. Like I used to do videos in my medical school scrubs back in the day. But I upgraded and got myself, and me and him were talking about how Angry Man was doing videos in his car. So was Jack. But now it's a lot harder to get into, get a lot of views in Black YouTube because the content is better. You can't just come in talking about fuck Black women, fuck Black women. It's not going to work now. Now it's more about lifestyle, and you got to have good production. So it makes it harder sometimes for a lot of guys who are just starting out to have good content to come in there and compete right away. Okay, so and me realizing this, we need to bring the brothers who have good content up. Let's offer them a chance to get their voices heard. I know there's a kind of a strict a lot on the manosphere as to who's getting the most shine, and I know I'm one of the bigger guys up there. But once again, we have a lot of guys out there who have knowledge, and we need to go ahead and share it, even if that means maybe your fan base is put on to somebody else. That's how other groups of men work together. O'Shea, have you heard about the brother that killed 8 people in Mississippi, including the cop? No, but I will do a video on it. What up, B-Vlog? Teammate, my first intro. So email me, man. So like I said, we need to do a better job. Like even people like Brian Vlogs, man, he has good content. We need to go ahead and do that. We got to collaborate more with the brothers who are trying to come up and help them, because you never know, and I always say this, you never know when one of these dudes might get bigger than you. You listening to Prophet Thought Series?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, I just want to say this. I'm going to tell you the trick to this, man. You never know when one of these guys get bigger than you. Because I can tell you like this, man, and I was telling the Prophet of Thought Series, this time last year, nobody knew who the fuck I was. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody, I had 2,000 subscribers. Nobody saw me coming at all. All right. And, it's a year later, I got 37,000 views on one channel, 8-something thousand views on this channel, over 10 million channel views, 8 million of them is locked up on private. But you never know which one of these dudes may become big. So like I said, you don't want to get left out. Because some of these guys, well, somebody else might put them on, and then you out there looking like the boo the fool. So let's work with the other brothers if we can. Let's put the other brothers on the platforms. We have the website. We have brothers who want to sell certain things, or brothers who want to can be able to do business and stuff like. Let's help the brothers do better. Now you niggas who email me talking about you got a fucking scam on Bitcoin and all that shit, and I don't know you niggas better not email me a motherfucking thing. I'm talking about the brothers who've been producing videos for 6 months to a year, and these guys have been in there faithful. Get these brothers on the platforms. We got to do that because we are missing out on ideas and new content. All right. Anything else you want to say?
I just want to touch on a little bit about, because we are talking about, fatherless females who cry for daddy. And I want to touch on a little something that I spoke about in the video that I made. A lot of views of men become skewed where young girls are concerned because of what they go through in their childhood. And when I say that, this is what I mean. When you have a situation where you got this, irresponsible ass woman, and she has 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 kids, whatever the number is. And obviously, if she has 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8 baby daddies, she don't have a problem circulating men in and out of her life, in and out of her house, in and out of her funk box. So with that, I want to say this. When you have children, especially female children around, they see this and they see these women track back and forth into the house, into the woman's life. It kind of gives them an idea of what they are supposed to be as women, as well as they grow. They think this is what a woman's supposed to do, have 9 kids by 9 different dudes and so on and so forth. And also, a lot of times when these women pick these dudes, they pick these dudes who have these crazy tendencies where you find, because let's be clear, 6 out of 10 black girls are molested by the time they're 12 years old. That's just a fact. Y'all don't have to listen to me. Y'all can Google it yourself. 6 out of 10. Okay, you're talking 60%. That's a lot. All right, that's a lot. So you have these girls who are being abused and molested, and more often than not, it's somebody they know. Sometimes it's an uncle or a cousin, but sometimes it's mama's boyfriend. All right, mama's boyfriend comes in there and molests this child, abuses this child, touches this child. Now, this is a small child who knows nothing of males, nothing of men. So her first encounter with a man, her first understanding of a man is this negative encounter with this guy who's freaking abusing her or molesting her. And that will go on for a while. Okay, that will go on for a while. So as this child grows up and she gets to the point where she deals with men, I'm a true believer that these type of things skew a lot of women's view of men, especially fatherless girls, because they have grown up in a household where mama boyfriend was molesting them for a year, 2 years, 3 years, I mean, and the crazy thing is that a lot of times, these women, okay, these irresponsible ass women, they allow this to continue. Why? Because a lot of them went through it too. So even though they know it's going on, they like to live in denial of it. They like to live in denial of it because they know that they have made a mistake by bringing this damn fool, this damn creep, this damn pervert into their house. So if they believe this child, when this child says, look, mom, this guy is doing something to me, oftentimes they don't believe it. I've talked to many girls, I've interviewed them on my show, where the mother knew that this guy was doing this to this child. She knew that the child came to her and said, mom, this dude is doing something to me. And what happened? These women were in denial of it, because if they were to admit and believe that the child is doing this, they would also have to admit and believe that they picked this rapist, molester, pervert as a mate. And that's what they don't want to face, because I'll say again, women have a tendency to live a life of no regrets. They don't want to say, I regret anything. They don't want to say, I regret choosing this guy. They don't want to say, I regret having this child. They don't want to say that. So a lot of times, these women, they grow up, man, their psyche is messed up. Their psyche is so messed up as far as men are concerned, that there's no way in hell that they can grow up and have a functional relationship. There's no way in hell they can grow up and be part of a nuclear family as someone's wife, or there's no way in hell they can do it, because they've been skewed. Okay, they've been mentally fractured, emotionally fractured by the actions of their own damn mama. Their mother has caused them to be augmented as people because of her badass decisions. Why? Because her mama caused her to be augmented with her bad decisions. Okay, that's why I say a lot of these women, they're just not for you, brothers. They're too mentally messed up for you. And I'll say again, don't sit around and wait for the damn augmenting to go away. Let someone else deal with her. Okay. If you're a man that's about your business, okay, and you're a man who understand and you're trying to build something. If you just somebody out there to think with your penis, I would advise you to think with a condom covered penis if you're going to think with it. But if you're a brother who was out there trying to build something, and you're looking for a woman, and you're looking to have a legacy, and you're looking to do something real and something concrete, man, stay away from those women who are not the same way. Stay away from those women who are mentally augmented. Because let me tell you something, whatever kids you do have with her, she is going to affect them. She's going to affect them if y'all stay together. And she's definitely going to affect them if y'all happen to split up. Okay? Because like I said earlier, she's going to treat those kids a lot different, man, once you out of the picture. So, I mean, we as men, we can change this. I mean, we can change it with our own daughters. Because unfortunately, brothers, a lot of the women that are out there now, guess what? They're never going to change. There is no fixing them. But you can change your daughter. You can make sure your daughter don't grow up to be some hood rat heifer. You can make sure that your daughter grows up to not be some child that will sleep with any guy that grins at her. You can make sure that your daughter grows up and understand her place as a woman, your place as a man. You can change your daughter. You can change that. You can change it. Because you're not going to be able to change some of these women, man. You're not going to be able to change them. A lot of them are too far gone. They're too far gone. So leave them the hell alone. But if you're a brother that happen to have a daughter, a small young daughter, it's up to you to make sure she understands her place as a woman. It's up to you to instill some discipline and some counsel and some instruction into her psyche, brother. It's up to you. It is up to you. We can send forth a generation of better women, but we're going to be the ones to build them. We can't rely on women to build them. I mean, we've tried that. We've tried that. Look where it's gotten us. Look where it's gotten us. So we are going to be the ones that build this new generation of women by changing the effect of these things on our own daughters, because we actually have control over that. We don't have any control on how these women are, man. We don't have any control over some woman who grew up all her life with some old trap house mama. Okay, freaking, she got 9 kids by 9 different dudes, and her daughters are just as trap house as her, or worse. You think you're going to be able to come in there and change a woman like that? No damn way. But it's up to you can decide whether or not your daughter turns out like that. You can decide whether or not if your daughter grows up to be some old trap house heifer. Okay, you can decide whether or not your daughter grows up to think with her damn funk box or not. You can decide that. You can decide that by the type of man that you are concerning your little girl. If you want to see a change in women, change the females that you create. You're never going to be able to change the ones that are already here. You're not. You're just not. I'm just saying.
Very powerful. Kings and daughters that you have, and I believe that is great information. Once again, I want to shout out to, again, the Prophet of Thought series. Like I said, man, brother is severely underestimated, I would say. Last time I brought him on, over 100,000, listening minutes. I'm always stoked to have him on the show. And hopefully, I think that as we're going to basically get, well, how can I say this? As we get more streaming going towards here, and what I mean by that is, as we get more into the Negro Manosphere as it's evolving, I do have an OBS now, so what we'll be seeing is more the Negro Manosphere podcast, which will probably be like on Blog Talk Radio. So I have my live interviews, but what I'm going to start to do is to make a podcasting available on Blog Talk Radio, which is pre-recorded radios, are actually on iTunes and stuff like that, and will feature, certain people like the Prophet Thought series. It will feature, a lot of people to get the word out. So that's what we're in the making to do, is to start a podcast on iTunes, start a podcast on Blog Talk Radio. And what I want to do is do more of a call-in show. Probably won't be until like July, where we can stream and then do the call-in show at the same time, where people can call in and people can talk and converse on that way. And, we're going to be able to do more stuff. So expect to see the Prophet of Thought playing a big role in that, because he's an excellent radio producer. He's excellent at what he does. As you can see, he held the show down for two hours plus tonight. I think that this guy's probably one of the best content creators that we have. And a lot of people just don't know who he is. But I think pretty soon you're going to know who he is. Somebody says, working like you got octopus arms. Right on, player. Well, listen, man, we're gonna keep the Prophet coming back. Hopefully, I got a lot of time this week. I don't have any more classes, so if I can get the Prophet to come back this week, and like I said, we will be doing the Negro Manosphere. We'll be moving towards some type of downloadable podcast. All right, whether it be on Blog Talk Radio or on iTunes, or on SoundCloud. So we will be moving to like a pre-recorded podcast, which will feature other people. So once again, thank you, Prophet of Thought series, man. I apologize. I really am grateful that you came tonight. Thank you for all the people in the chat. Don't forget to like the Negro Manosphere on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Negro Manosphere. Okay, and we will have a lot of good content there, and be streaming from Facebook also too. So a lot of different things coming into this pretty soon. All right. And anything else you want to say, Prophet?
I'll just close out with this. Brothers, know what you want out of life, man, and know what you want in a woman, and know what you want in your children. The best knowledge is knowledge of self. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's true. I mean, have knowledge of who you are as a man and what you expect from yourself, because what you expect from yourself, you're ultimately going to expect from others, because you don't attract what you don't respect. So if you have respect for yourself, for your mentality, for your ideas, let me tell you something, you're only going to attract people that are like that. So that's all I want to say to you brothers, man, especially you young brothers, man. I mean, know who you are and have respect for yourself, and expect other people to treat you with that same respect, man, and you'll be all right, man. That's how you avoid having 20 baby mamas. That's how you avoid having ratchet ass women in your life and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's how you avoid all that stuff, man. It's going to start with you. Have some standards, have some self-esteem, and, understand who you are as a man, and project that masculine manhood, and it'll be reflected in your life, brothers. And I'll leave y'all with that.
All right. Shout out to Doug. Once again, man, shout out to the Prophet of Thought series. We'll link up, man. Again, thank you for coming. You guys can find him, Prophet of Thought.
Thank you for having me on, brother ODJ. Got to say that, man. Thanks for having me on, brother. Always appreciate it, because you and I, we talk in the back channel. So, always appreciate you, brother. I got a lot of respect for you, man.
Thank you. Like I said, we're going to make this a lot better. A lot better. This is just, like I said, I am like in the manosphere. I am the dirty work guy. That's my job. All right. My job in the manosphere, in the black manosphere, is to try to expand it into other platforms. So right now we've just been on YouTube, but getting the Negro Manosphere on Facebook, getting black YouTubers to get their videos promoted on Facebook, which is something that we did last time before the page got shut down. Getting there's several YouTubers already on Blog Talk Radio, but maybe getting a podcast on iTunes or SoundCloud and things like that. We're looking to do that for the brothers also. So we'll be in multiple forms, whether it's through an app or through something. So once again, brothers, thank you so much for the time that you spent with us tonight. I hope you gained something from this podcast. Thank you again, Prophet of Thought. And as you guys always know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. Peace out, brothers.
Peace.